Hi, I'm Dr. Jenny Doke-Kerns, and I'm going to be facilitating your Women's Writers course this semester. And as you know, it is a second 8-week course, so it's the last half of the semester. And today I wanted to go ahead and just walk you through the syllabus and walk you through the way that the class will proceed. First off, hopefully if you're watching this, you've found the course content area. Every week I will post every week a new folder for that week will become available. So this is the October 19th folder. I went ahead and opened it up today on the 18th, just I figured some of you might be poking around in the class a little bit. So, and then the next one will come out on October 26th, every Wednesday. At the beginning of the day, a new folder will become available. So I do want to take the time today to walk you through the syllabus a little bit because it's incredibly important, especially in an online class, that you know exactly what to expect and you know what the expectations I have for you, and then you also know what you can expect from me as well. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to be looking at different screens, so forgive me. So the beginning part of the syllabus has just your regular stuff. It has some contact information. I highly suggest that your best form of contact for me would be email. My email does have, when I email you back, though, on my email signature, there is a work phone and a cell phone. The cell phone that's listed there is actually a work phone that I've used in the past in different roles, and I don't use it as much as I used to. So I would say email's best, and if we do need to talk, I'll share my personal cell phone with you, so just so you know that. As far as the textbooks for the course, you are going to be using this anthology of literature. I'm sorry it's a little clunky and it's a little expensive, but I'm hoping that we use it in a couple of different ways this semester. We'll talk about more as we go on. And then also we're going to be reading The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, so you should have a copy of that, and Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. So those two books will be especially important as we go a little further into the course. You of course have to have access to computers and technology. That should be a given in an online course, and you need to stay on top of your DMAC email, because if anything changes, that's where you're going to be notified. Checking Blackboard is pretty good idea as well. So as you go into the course, you'll see each week you're mostly going to be using announcements, course content, gradebook, and that's pretty much it. There is, of course, a place to the side where you can grab your syllabus, but that's also in this week one folder as well. And those places are going to be really all you need to complete the course. Everything, like I said, all assignments, all resources you need for each week will be available in each week's folder every Wednesday. And that'll also be where you will go in and submit the work that you do. So course competencies for this course: we want to apply college level reading skills to literary works written by diverse women, analyze literature by women, focusing on textual, structural, and thematic elements, analyze literature through the application of one or more critical approaches, and we'll talk more about critical approaches, and you'll be reading some about that, but some of those might be formalism, Marxism, feminism, gender studies, mythological, psychological, cultural studies, and just to name a few. You'll want to interpret literature by women using elements of literary criticism and literary terms, which you'll be defining a couple of those most of the weeks. Evaluate literature the literature's continuing relevance to the human condition, create effective writing to demonstrate understanding of course goals, and integrate standard college level documentation practices. So when we write our papers, you will be expected to use MLA style citation, and I'll share some resources on that so you can have a little brush up if it's been a little while. Again, now this is the introduction to me part of the syllabus. Basically, I have been with DMAC full-time for almost 10 years. I'm an English professor. I've also worked in fostering our prison education programs, which is absolutely fascinating. And actually, the last time I taught this class, this women's literature, women writers class, was actually in the women's prison. So you can imagine that that was a really, really interesting process. Notice, and I even skipped over, or just kind of stumbled over that, this class when I took it in college was called women's literature. Now it's called Women Writers. So as I think you can imagine, there are a lot of reasons why it shouldn't just be called women's literature. We don't have men's literature. Often it was perceived that literature that was written by women was written for women. Yet no one necessarily really thinks that. If a man writes something, it's just a man writing something, and it can be, consumed by anyone. So luckily, the change in the title of the course kind of reflects that understanding that, yes, there are women writers, but their audience is more than just about their gender. So again, you'll hear me. I'll ask you to reflect on that every once in a while in the process of the course. So I've taught English. I've taught several different courses in communications and literature as well, a lot of writing courses. Before that, I was a high school English teacher. I received a master's in English from Iowa State, a master's in effective teaching and learning from Drake, and then I got my PhD in educational leadership at Drake as well. So there's a lot of information about my stuff on the syllabus. If you have more questions, let me know. Personally, I have 3 kids. One's grown up and married. I have 2 younger ones that live with me and my husband. And my stepdaughter is currently stationed in Germany, and we're very excited. We're going to get to go and visit her over Christmas. And then I have some fur babies. I have 2 rescue cats that are adorbs, and one is old and cranky, and the other is young and cranky. And then I also have a rescue Shih Tzu that I actually rescued and met at the women's prison when I was teaching there. And but we have a new puppy in our family right now. We just adopted a Bernese Mountain Dog puppy who is already 40 pounds and is just now 4 months old. So he's going to be a big, giant baby. I may just have to put a picture of my pets up there for you guys. So anyway, that's me. That's Jenny. And you can just call me Jenny. Let's see. So going on, the next section talks about the structure of the course. This course will be divided into 8 sections corresponding with the 8 weeks of class. Each Wednesday, a new content folder will be available in Blackboard. Here you will find an overview for the week and all assignments and resources you need to complete those assignments. There will also be places to submit your work. Most work will be due the following Tuesday at midnight, so you have 1 week for most items. But there may be exceptions for smaller tasks that need to be done before the next week for us to continue. For instance, we may do a peer edit on a paper, and so that may be a 3 or 4 day turnaround on that. Also, I always note this, if it seems like something is missing, shoot me an email. There are a number of boxes I have to uncheck or check in order to make things visible for my students. And sometimes I can see it and you can't. So trust me, I make mistakes. Don't hesitate to say, hey, Jenny, I don't see this. I'll go in there and fix it as quickly as I can. And I do see this as the next part of this talks about teaching writing even in lit class. I do see anytime you're dealing with literature and you're responding to it, especially when we're doing it in an online forum where so much of our communication is going to be written, this is a writing class too. So please make sure that you're adhering to standard, grammar, usage, sentence structure, all that good stuff. Utilize your local writing labs. DMAC has so many online writing options right now, on writing lab options. Use those. It's definitely to your advantage to do that. The next part of the syllabus goes over the grading scale. This is a standard, 90, 80, 70, grading scale. But I do break it down in percentages. So 30% is the participation. This is little assignments that we do, editing, drafts if we do papers. 10% is going to be your writing journals and reflections. So I'll have some kind of reflection for you to write each week. And you'll see some weeks are going to be really heavy on reading. Some weeks may be more heavy on writing, but I do try to balance it as much as possible. You will complete the paper or the semester with a literary analysis paper that will be 20% of your grade. And then there'll be unit tests. Each time we finish a unit, there'll be some kind of assessment. Most of those will also be written essays or short answers. And then, of course, we'll have a final at the end. I really like to have a final that just gives you an opportunity to secure the good grade that you have or help your grade if you need it. Not that there won't be work to it, but I want it to be an opportunity for you to show me what you've gotten out of the class and built to your advantage. So of course, as I said, all writing assignments will be in MLA style, which is what most of the English department uses. And then the next part here describes what your reading journals are going to look like. So reading journals will be assigned and submitted in each week's content folder. For assignments, I will ask you to respond to the following at a minimum, and meaning you could write about other things on top of this, but I need to make sure that you hit these things. So what are your immediate reactions as you read or you complete the reading? What is your gut reaction to what you're reading? What are 3 things about the reading that you felt you really understood and really spoke to you? What are 3 questions you have after the reading? What do you think motivated the writer to write this piece? What message is she trying to convey to her readers? So these are just really general questions that you can apply to about any of these, okay? And for instance, right now I'm looking at the content folder, and that weekly reflection is really a lot of, it's not quite as detailed because you're not reading quite as much, but you will be reflecting on that idea of women's literature versus women writers a little bit. Also, there are some reflection questions over one of your readings this week. So the final is going to consist of a writing assignment over Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, which is the last book that we're going to read together. We'll work together to create that assignment because I want you guys to have the opportunity to kind of take it the direction that you want to. So we'll clearly much more information is going to come with that. And I do have a note in here about pacing and timing of work. In an 8-week course, more content is twice as much content is being presented to you each week as a normal course. So naturally, it's going to be a little heavy. That being said, I really, really, really do not like to accept late work in a situation like this because the end date is still the end date. And if you just keep pushing things off, it's just going to make it worse as you go further. So please try to stay on top of work. If there's ever an issue, you need to talk to me, definitely. I can't guarantee I will always get an email back to you in the evening. I do work Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5. So normally that's when I try to work. I am trying to work on that work-life balance a little bit where I'm not logged in all the time, but I'll be honest, a lot of times I am in the evening. So if I am, I will get back to you as soon as I can, as soon as I see it. But just the main point here is taking a condensed class in 8 weeks can be challenging, and it's going to require you guys to really, really be on top of it. So all your papers, all your reflections, everything, again, MLA style, they need to be typed double-spaced in 12-point font, preferably Times New Roman. You want for your name and page number, you want to get in the habit of using MLA style. Note that your name, my name, the class name, and the date go on the paper on the upper left-hand corner. Your last name followed by the page number should appear on all subsequent pages. The next section says don't plagiarize, okay? I think you know that. Last date to drop the class is November 28th, but why would you ever do that? And you will be notified, midterm is November 15th or just before that, so if you have a lower grade or grade lower than C-, you'll be notified at that time. Let's see here. Again, it goes on to talk about the school's policy on plagiarism. Then it also goes into academic support services. And if you ever have any questions about accommodations or anything like that, I actually am the disability services liaison for the Newton campus, and I can help connect you with those anywhere in the district if you have questions. But there is more information in the syllabus about that at a district-wide level. So, and of course, if you ever feel like you're being mistreated or discriminated against in any of your settings at DMAC, it is important to reach out and report that. Debbie McKintrick is our judicial officer, and she is a really, really fantastic resource for students. After that, I've got a really, really bare bones basic schedule of what we're going to be reading in the course of the semester. That does not list every daily, weekly exercise and reflection that we're going to do. but it should at least give you an idea of how we're going to be pacing the reading assignments as the semester progresses. So that is an overview of the syllabus. I am now going to get into the content folder and walk you through this section really quick here. Okay, so the week 1 overview and assignments. You want to view the welcome video, that's this, okay? You want to read through the syllabus, of course. Then you're going to complete the syllabus quiz, which is right there in the folder. I have a couple of different videos on there that kind of just, I want to give you, this is more of a contemporary women's writers course. So most of the folks that we read start at the 1900s and go forward. But I wanted to kind of give you a little historical context leading up to that. So I have a couple of different videos that I want you to check out. Then you have your literary terms. I'm going to have common literary terms that I want you to go out, look them up online, just provide a couple of sentence definition, and then know that those words are going to be something that I'm going to assume that you can use and be a part of your vocabulary as we go forward discussing these different sources and pieces, I should say, as we go forward. Then I have a section here with writings by Doke-Kerns. She was a Native American writer around the turn of the 20th century, so about 120 years ago. She had a really interesting story. She was born on a reservation, and then was sent to a Quaker school. And basically, they tried to take the Native American out of her. And she ended up in a space where she became very successful, went to college, all this, but she ended up in a space where she no longer fit in with her Native American family and her roots, but yet she was never fully accepted into white society as well. So her reflections are really, really interesting, and I hope you will find those interesting as you go on. Then I do want you to do reflection questions on Doke-Kerns. There are attached reflection questions. You'll submit those as one document. So if there are 4 questions in your reflection, 1, 2, 3, 4, one document, put it all in at once. And then in your weekly reflection exercise, that is where I'm going to ask you to reflect on why, again, you feel it's more appropriate for the class to be called women writers rather than women's literature. So, and then of course the syllabus quiz. This is just something that lets me know that you did indeed view this video and read through the syllabus. So that's all I have for you today. I really, really appreciate you taking the time. I promise the weekly videos will not be this long normally, but I did want to kind of give you a lot of information today about the course and how we're going to do it. So reach out if you have any questions. I think just as I was doing this, I actually got an email come through from one of you. So I look forward to chatting with you, and reach out if you have questions. Thank you.